The Real Grade Sazabi, without a doubt one of the single best gunpla ever released, is back, this time as a Gundam Side F Gundam Park exclusive. This right here is the MSN-04FF Sazabi, and that FF stands for Big Old Guns. They kind of look like lobster claws. So yeah, like I mentioned, this right here is a Gundam Side F exclusive, which means it is exclusive to Japan, so your choices here are to jump on a plane, head over to Side F and grab one for yourself, or you can do what I did and jump on over to BUYEE and grab one there. If I'm not mistaken, I got this off of Mercari. I'll throw it up on the screen right now how much it cost me, where I got it, and I'll also throw a link down there in the description. And this isn't the only thing that came inside the box, so let's check that out too. So basically it was either just buy the Sazabi as it was or get the stuff from Gundam Side F as well, which cost no extra, so that's what I went for. So what else is in here is a gunpla Bandai Hobby Center quality tote bag, which has a Gundam on the other side, which says the Gundam base, so if you didn't go yourself, you can just lie and say that you did. So this is pretty cool, and this is pretty much, would this have been the size of the box? Let's go see. Go over and get what the box would fit inside it. Just about. So if you need to carry around some gunpla, you can do it in this. Next up after that is the actual bag that this did come in, so they just included that as well. If you want a big old plastic bag that says Gundam Side F Fukuoka, you could actually probably frame something like this or mount it in a poster frame, which is pretty cool. Gundam Park around on the back. Lastly then are the fun bits. Now these are incredibly fun, and this is really what made me want to grab this variant, or should I say this seller's version, because it had a few more bits inside of it. As for what we've got here, we've got some stickers. I'm not sure if these are for actually sticking on anything in particular. These are like your usual blue back Gundam stickers. It just says welcome campaign, so it's not necessarily for using on anything in particular, so you can just stick them on whatever you want if you need to decal something up. Next up we've got a B5 cutting mat. It's always good to have a extra cutting mat, and this one is nice and compact if you're only going to be doing a little bit of work. This is actually smaller than the small Gundam one I have in here, so I've got this one of New Gundam, and this one's even a little bit smaller. Handy, nice color too, in a nice blue. Lastly then is a clear file. If you've ever been in Japan or if you've lived in Japan, these things are used for absolutely everything and you get them everywhere all of the time. So this is quite nostalgic to me. Basically any kind of campaign anywhere, you'll get yourself a clear file for keeping documents inside of. As you can see, it's almost like a cell from an animation or something like that because it's just the Sazabi itself. So whatever you pop inside of it, I don't actually have anything handy. I'll just stick this inside of it to give the effect. But yeah, if you pop something inside of it, the Sazabi will be in front, but the background stays in the back. That's pretty cool. Anyway, back to the actual Sazabi. So anyway, I jumped ahead and got the Real Grade Sazabi itself all finished up, and I forgot just how good of a build this is. This is an absolutely ridiculously good kit. This is what it looks like just out of box, straight built, nothing else done. The cleanup is super simple. I just snipped everything twice, nothing extra, and you will not see a nub on this beast whatsoever because it's so well designed. I'll also mention there is a couple of things worth knowing in case you don't know. These shoulders on this, they're very inclined to break, so be either super careful while putting them together or make sure to look into how to modify that joint. There's also a bit you can modify inside of the butt flap back here that gives you more of an ab crunch. So there is those two things to look out for. But anyway, let's try out the new weapons. So what we've got when it comes to runners for building the brand new parts of this particular kit, this is quite a bit of plastic. You'd see less than this in a high grade. So you've got two of these for the inner frame aspects of those big old weapons. We've got these, these are really cool. So we've got the beam effects for using with this kit. If I'm not mistaken, these can be used with the Real Grade New Gundam, the FF version. And then we've got the multicolored parts, which is the red, clear, and yellow for building these. So I guess that is pretty much 2 runners per gun and some effects. So I got one of these big old lobster claws done, and I have to say there's a lot going on inside of one of these. There's a whole bunch of different moving parts, and as you'd expect from something with so many runners in such a small thing, there's a lot going on in this. And I'll also mention that these are actually not, well, how would you say, like completely symmetrical. You actually have to pay attention to what orientation they are during the build. But anyway, let's build the other one and see what it's like. So yeah, even though a lot of this does look like it is completely symmetrical, that is not actually the case. There is a defined bottom and a top to this piece, and the same goes as you keep building this up. So you do have to kind of pay attention to which side is up during this. And the hard part is, both sides look absolutely identical besides one aspect. This side right here has a little bit of what they call in the manual a diagonal part, whereas this side is flat. That's the only real difference, and it does affect the build somewhat. The plastic here is Bandai's super buttery perfect plastic. It's easy to snip out. It is also quite dense too, so the parts are nice. But best of all, it is super soft to clean up, which is always fantastic. Now, this is me trying to get through the backlog pretty quickly, so I'm just going to be double snipping everything. But as well as this being super soft plastic, the red parts we'll be taking a look at later on have a lot of undergating. So continuing on the build, this is buttery smooth, feels perfect, and everything clips together absolutely perfectly. Like I mentioned, the red parts, all the outer armor segments, are undergated. In case you don't know what undergating is, it's when the knob that connects the part to the runner is actually on the undersurface of the item in question. So that means when you cut out the part, you just snip the undergate like so, and this will never ever be on the surface of your kit, so you don't get any scratches, no nasty cleanup, nothing like that. Awesome, great quality. And everything just fits on perfectly. After building the couple of high-grade 00 kits that have been built in recently, it really does let you kind of like, it gives you perspective as to what Bandai's awesome kits nowadays are like, compared to the amount of effort you had to do just to get something, well, looking all right back then. This is incredible. I forgot just how good a kit the Real Grade Sazabi is, and these added updated weapons are pretty damn cool. Can't wait to see them in action. From there on out, it is just the same building, snapping of parts on, making sure to pay attention to the orientation of this because it does kind of matter a little bit later on. And a little bit here too, because there is a part towards the end that does require to be put on a specific kind of way. But everything clips together perfectly, and this is an absolute joy to build, like the Sazabi itself. And speaking of being a joy to build, this is probably the best part of the build, where you just start layering on all the moving little pieces of armor. They all clip on super easily, holding each other on just like so. Flip it over, it's exactly the same on the other side. Its armor flap pops in, bit goes on to hold it in place. This is just such a satisfying simple build. Even though there is a lot of parts to it, it's the fact that everything just works exactly the way it should that makes it so satisfying. There's even kits, well, most kits I would say that I find it kind of hard to talk and build at the same time, but this just slides together absolutely perfectly. This is a nice lobster. Next up then, we've got this cool unit inside of it, which almost looks like it's replacing the funnels that we would have had with the standard Sazabi. This has such an absolutely kick-ass design and attaches together perfectly as well. See, it has that kind of funnel kind of vibe about it. This armors up on the rear just like so, and then this attaches into the side with the diagonal bit just like so. So that pops in like that, and then closes in just like so. So that's the kind of asymmetrical aspect of this sort of weapon. Lastly, then we do have a couple of simple handles. These just attach on via a C-clip just like so. And just like the rest of this, these attach on an interesting way. So one goes on that side pointing up like so, and the other goes on the reverse side pointing the opposite direction. So you've got both of those, and that is essentially them finished. So I guess before we get into the full-on review, I guess I'm going to get these attached onto the Sazabi. So I've never done this before, so this flips out like so, all the way around to this side. This one flips out, this one flips over, and then this one flips under. We pop this segment out just like so, and then flip it over like so for on the right-hand side. So this does attach on in where the funnels were before. Do the exact same thing then with the other side. And yeah, it seems like these just attach on into where the fin funnels were. That is a cool design. That's holding on extremely perfectly. Didn't expect it to be this strong. That's fantastic. So finally, there it is complete, and I can't even fit it in frame with those gigantic cannons around back. And I'd almost forgotten just how much of a beast this Sazabi is, the real grade that is. For example, there is the Gundam Aerial, the high grade Gundam Aerial for scale. So when it does come to the aesthetics of the Sazabi FF right here, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's mammoth big for a 1/44th scale kit, and those cannons round back match perfectly with this Sazabi look. Now, ignoring the cannons, as far as I know, this is the exact same Sazabi you would get retailed the normal version. It doesn't seem to be a color variant. If it is, it's extremely slight, and I can't tell just by looking at it. Now, I don't have the standard version of the real grade right now to compare this to because it is in storage, but if you haven't seen the review of that kit, it is phenomenal. This is the kit that made Gundarium tier happen. Before that, it was just a standard, simple 3-star kind of ranking system. We had bronze, silver, gold, which was bad, good, great. Besides that, everything was just super simple. But this broke the mold so much. This was a kit that blew every other kit away at the time, that this needed a tier of its own. This is the Gundarium tier staple. And after building it again, that's exactly what this is. It feels so good. You get lost in this absolutely perfect, yet very detailed build. Like, I was about to use the word complicated, but I don't feel this is complicated. It's easy to do because it works so well. There is a lot of parts, but it never gets difficult. This is a perfect gunpla, and the same goes for the new weapons that we're going to talk about. But yeah, these just popped on into the shoulders like so, looks so good. The only variant between this particular Sazabi and the retail one is the fact that the inside of those funnel holding segments around back has been changed, modified, for these to attach on. So these will not just attach on to a standard Sazabi. But yeah, what can I say? If you've never built the real grade Sazabi, whether this version or the standard version, I say you have to. It is one of the best, if not top 3, Gundam kits of all time. Jumping now into the accessories, and this might be the biggest spread of accessories I've seen in quite some time. This was really hard to lay out. I couldn't lay it out the normal way I do for a review. This is a lot. You get so much going on in here. Not only that, the effects in here are black light reactive, so this thing glows up ridiculously awesomely. Get some blue, purple, or black light on this, and this kit will glow. On top of that, we've got some effects for using with the FF version, the Fukuoka version of the new Gundam, which is mad, that big old pink one. We've got a full stand, all the equipment we would have seen with the standard version of the Sazabi, and I didn't even build the funnels for using with this, so there's even more. I just didn't get around to it. On top of that, we've even got a tiny little char. So yeah, today we're not going to be taking a look at everything in here, so if you want to see all of this stuff, you can check out the full Sazabi review I did quite some time ago. But today what we're going to be looking at is what is exclusive to this box, and that is mainly these big old lobster claw weapons back here. Okay, so we've seen these attached onto the backpack already, but let's see what it can actually do with these on the backpack, see what kind of articulation we have. Doesn't feel like there's really much in the lines of any kind of rotation to this, so it may just be for kind of storage, or for maybe firing some shots while in flight. Again, these attach on super simply and super strong. So when it comes to the articulation on the double horn funnels back here, these take full advantage of the backpack's articulation. So these do move around quite a bit and they're quite strong. You will get a little bit of wiggle, of course, but these do move around quite nicely. Now, according to the actual lore about these weapons right here, these aren't actually used from up here. This is just a charging point for charging these particular funnels before they are launched. So speaking of being launched, like we've seen so many times already, they just pop off like that. So if you want to display these with the included stand, you just swing this bit around, it connects right back on in there, and we do have some base adapters which attach on here. So these just pop on just like that right there, and have your standard action base adapter piece. Just taking the included adapter, firing on this other part, and then the funnel just attaches on just like so, and you can display it in flight looking like that right there. That is pretty cool. There is only one stand included though, so it does mean if you want to display both, you will need another one of these action base 4s. However, that does look pretty cool. However, if you do want to display both at once on this stand, there is the other mode, at least one of the other modes. There's a whole bunch of modes with these, and the next one is the Hyper Mega Particle Cannon mode. So what we're going to be doing here is making a kind of double-barreled fin funnel massive hyper mega particle cannon. To do that, you just rearrange some of the parts according to the instructions. That's the handles and the adapter part for attaching it onto the backpack. Then you grab two of these little base adapter segments, wiggle them around a little bit to get them the right way around, and then they attach together like so, connecting both of the funnels into this massive double-barreled mode. Once they're connected, you can flare out these armor parts. There's some here and here. These ones pop out like so, exactly the same on the other one, and the detail here is absolutely phenomenal. The little adapter in under here still has the parts sticking out, so that means it can still be mounted onto the action base just like so, and this is what we get. This is absolutely incredible, and we do have a full stand displaying both just like so. But if you're like me, what you truly want to see is this absolutely mammoth effect part. So getting this attached is pretty cool. For the most part, you just rearrange it back to the way it was before, all closed up. But we do have one extra part here, which is this flip out little adapter. This is on both sides, so you can do this with both of these weapons at once. But I will mention we only have one effect part for using with this kit. To get it attached then, you just grab one of the holding hands. This attaches very nicely. There's a peg inside the hand. It's rock solid. We've got an articulated wrist on it, so these hands are fantastic. Then you just pop the wrist into the wrist hole, and then we've got a secondary adapter segment which attaches into the forearm for a double locking mechanism. So it's held in the hand and attached into the shield attachment point in the forearm. So this is locked on good and strong, which is important for such a big weapon. Next up then, we've got the setup of the massive effect part. This pops out at the end, and this is the little section that attaches it onto the funnel. So what we're doing here is just attaching it between the teeth in the funnel like so. It then just locks in underneath like that. That is super simple. And then that gigantic beam effect just attaches onto that just like so. This is absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and that's what this kit looks like in a pose, and this is absolutely ridiculously awesome. Now, this is a Gundarium tier kit, and it still is a Gundarium kit till today. The Sazabi is so good, the real grade that is. And I'll also mention that the equipment that's in here, the new weapons and everything, is all Gundarium tier 2, the same top quality, real grade quality that you would expect. Now, I will mention for some of you who might be a little bit impatient or don't have the best track record with finicky kits, there is a whole lot going on here, a lot of balance issues and whatnot, which just comes with the territory. So if you love posing massive kits, don't mind adjusting everything piece by piece by piece by piece for the ultimate over-the-top Sazabi pose, then you will adore this. And I think this is one unmissable upgrade to an awesome kit. It is sad that it is a Gundam base exclusive, but if you happen to be swinging by the Gundam base, this is there, I say grab it. It is awesome. I'll also mention that there is another effect part in here which is exactly the same as the green one, and this one is in pink. It's 100% identical, and this is for using with the Gundam base Fukuoka exclusive version of the new Gundam FF that we would have seen before. This is for using with that massive long-range fin funnel. But yeah, if you're not going to Japan anytime soon, you can grab one where I got mine, and that is through BUYEE. The link will be in the description, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. Once again, this video right here, and none of these videos would be possible without each and every single one of you guys who watches my videos, and special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and here on the channel memberships, including 10 Soldier YT, Caleb Engelhart, Dashil Marmion, Go Little Rockstar, Joe, Lauren Seahack, Org59061, and Van Fawn.